part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach. Because when he makes those suggestions, he is, in a sense, misleading the population.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it. On target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech, and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach. Because when he makes those suggestions, he is, in a sense, misleading the population.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and do not represent those of 2020 Vision Radio or its advertisers.
Let us put our hands together for Papa Wheeler.
Shout for me, why? I want them to roar for me. Why? If you don't know I want in you, but I bang them, they go ball foul. Talk about irregularities, boy. They go be up and dumb balling. Not my ten don't pay come in. Boy, playing south. I'm bringing in these Indians. From the north, mi amiga and amigos. Como esta BMP da. La Nivis fiesta. Bring them to show for me. I want them to roar for me, boy. I go be mashing down the complaints. Yes, if they don't grow me king, boy. The doctor placing the campus suicide bomber bomb. Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar for me. Anything you want, you go get, boy. I'm mixing up the soca. Bring some Hindi and some rumba. Chutney and labanera. I did not necessary, boy. Pisca lips a mercenary. Bringing them to show for me. I wanted to roar for me. Maintain your impulso. Total zombie and beater. Take it away.
local fans decreasing.
By the numbers they keep dropping.
No, but they don't
Shout no more. Like they used to shout before.
boy. Disgruntled fans, they crumbling about promised songs. Fail on delivering. Start song and can't finish it.
In standard English, singing stupendous nonsense.
Why don't you sing a song and again?
Can we happen to a fair share? Where the money disappear?
Ooh yeah,
Stuart, if in question here,
bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roll, roll for me.
I'm gonna be rocking down the complex.
Yes, if they don't throw me king, boy, I do we like the doctor, placing their compass suicide bomber.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roll for me.
I'm gonna be mashing up the complex.
If they don't throw me king, boy, I do it like the doctor, placing their compass suicide bomber.
Boy, bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roll for me.
Anything you want, you go get. Boy, I'm mixing up the soca.
With some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and lavandera.
I did not necessary.
Boy, we got lips of mercenary.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roll for me. Maintain impulso, todo zombie and vida.
Boy,
Take it away.
I'm gonna be chartering airlines.
See preacher, see taxi. Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar for me. You got no.
You got to spend big money.
If you wanna win monarchy,
I go got the diaspora.
420 in my corner, boy.
Share the life, boy. Press like, subscribe, sharing.
All here the diaspora's king.
Your king go be knocking down your airport.
Knocking down
Hospital walls.
training
Geothermal. Let the Jewish people sing the song. These Hebrew boys don't understand. Begging them to load for me. I want them to roar for me. Rocking down the complex.
Yes, if they don't throw me king, doing like the doctor placing a compass suicide bomber.
Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar for me. Anything you want, you go get.
Yes,
I'm mixing up the soca with some Hindi and some rumba.
chutney and lavandera.
I need no necessary. Please God, lips of mercenary. Boy, bring me them to shout for me. I want them to roar for me.
Maintain el impulso, todo zombie and vida.
Take the momentum. Everybody is welcome. Thank you. Papa Wheeler.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of On Target. And as usual, on a Saturday afternoon, I'm your host, Kelvin Daly. And in studio with me thus far is the man himself, Hensley, the, the Patriot. Daniel. I had to find a good name for you. And I have yet to find anybody more patriotic than this gentleman here. And so let me say good afternoon to him. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Kel. Today is VAT free or VAT reduction day, so you drive around and you see people hustling to get a little deal, which tells you that
Things rough?
things rough, and people are been standing in the line to get a little something. I was at TDC and so on and so on. So people. I think Kel took this every quarter would at least ease the squeeze.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I would have had a conversation some time ago with a good friend of mine who has a business here on Nevis, who relocated his business here from the BVI. And he said to me, listen, the mere fact persons are out shopping en masse every chance they get on a VAT day tells you that if the VAT was reduced, then spending will be up, more money will be in economy, people doing better. But this stranglehold of 1 or 2 VAT days per year, it really is not helping the economy to any great extent. And so we see the lines. I drove down from home, and the lines are out the door by Horsford, by Courts.
The whole lot is full of
Yeah, I mean people are parking on the apron of the roads,
Yes.
trying to get a deal. And so it's a reflection of how bad things are, where people are simply trying to save a few bucks on the VAT. All right?
I think the message must be there by now. I think the sentiment I get from people and so on is that, look, put the VAT to 10% and let's stay there.
Yes, I think you'll do wonders.
That's the one.
All right. Let me say good afternoon to all those who on the FM dial, Twitch, YouTube, and of course on the Facebook feed. And in advance, wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year when it comes. The year is almost at an end. And so it has been a pleasure for all of us to be here with you all of these many months. And hopefully next year we'll have the health and strength to continue the fight, the good fight for the people of Nevis and of course the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. All right, so let me pay homage to those persons who made podium. LCQ, always on top, number 1. Number 2, the man over there in Oklahoma City, Kitchen King. 3rd, Ingrid Daniel Farrell up there in Virginia. Daldria Doll Penny, my number 1 fan down there on St. Kitts. She's number 4. And number 5, Gigi William Skeet, the good queen from over there in St. James. And then just behind that, Daniel's, Hensley's favorite person, Drexel Barton.
Oh, yeah. I get perky.
You get perky with that.
Yeah. Perky.
And then right behind her is the man himself, the best dressed man on Nevis, I contend, Patty Patterson.
Errol is running him a stiff second. He don't have to stay.
You're gonna have to stand up.
In top because
All right.
Errol is not easy.
Sis-
And Errol listens, okay.
He does.
Errol
So
listens.
he's bringing his A
And
game.
and every time Errol listens, he hears that Errol step up.
Okay then. All right. I've never seen Errol and Draggers either, so they're neck and neck. Cecile Hobson over there in St. Thomas's. Good afternoon, your queen. And Paul Pemberton and Catherine France. Catherine with a K, not a C. So don't get them mixed up. All right. Paul Pemberton. Did I call your name already? Yes, I did. Marcella Barbecue. BQ Jones down there in St. Thomas. Good afternoon to you, my dear. And who else we have? We have Martha Mango Tree. I get to find out who this Martha Mango Tree. You believe somebody's a fake name, right?
Yeah, maybe she looks
Not the
nice.
last name.
Maybe she looks nice and she doesn't know.
Like a gully mango.
You got it right. And you know what happened with Gully Mango?
Oh man.
Everybody wheeling
Everybody
stone.
wants them.
Everybody wheeling stone at Gully Mango.
Martha Mango Tree, you hear Henry talking about you, girl. I don't know. Burl the Man Jones from over there in St. Thomas's. Good afternoon to you. Sharon Stapleton, brown little woman by extension up there in Boston. And Hilda Davis over there in Monson Village, she's with us. August Washington and Ermin Farrell, all in the house. Lorette Wharton up there in the UK. And Jasmine John down there in St. Croix. Edison Cozier, Elvis Leslie, Annette Morton, the beautiful lady from up there in Rollins.
Yes.
Roberto Chapman is with us, and so is Desmond, Shirlene, and Jam Forbes are with us. Paula Wallace just clocked on, and so Little Wells is here with us this afternoon. Jeanette Grell Hall over there in Budgeon Range, Deacon Owen Jeffers and Brenda Douglas. Norma Jean down there in St. Martin is with us, and I think that is it for now. We have quite be the persons who are not going shopping. I don't know. I'm saying, somebody's saying, oh, Deacon Paul Jeffers is saying he's hearing a feedback. Perhaps it's coming because I was leaning a bit away from the mic. If you still hear it, just let me know, and I'll try to correct it the best I can. All right? Let me, at this point, welcome the other co-host, who is unusually late today. The man Tulu Weeks, the mayor of Hamilton, as he takes his seat and I light up his mic. Good afternoon to you, Tulu. How are you?
Good afternoon. I was just behind Hensley, but I stood outside there and having a little discourse with Brother Ren and the guys outside.
Wait, sir, intercourse or discourse?
However you want to tell me.
No, clarify it with him, Tolo.
However he wants to
Remember,
talk
you don't want Mrs. Weeks to be questioning anything. So let him know what it is.
However he wants to tell it, I'm going to leave it with him. Enjoy yourself.
Hensley, Martha is responding to your description, and she's saying, yes, I am a gooly mango.
I'm telling you, the way it sounds to me like it's a bully mango.
Okay, then.
It sounds like it look.
Okay, then. All right.
But Martha, keep away from those fellas who want to.
To just stone.
You said it. You said it.
Anyhow, we might be talking to a robot, I sure. Anyhow, we got quite a bit to go through, but before we do that, I will allow each of you gentlemen the opportunity to send greetings for the season to whoever you wish, or to anybody in particular, or anything in general. Tulu, let me hear from Tulu first.
Well, first of all, let me say that I am grateful for the time that I was able to spend with both of you here. I am really honored to be in your presence. It makes me feel a little bigger than I am and be in the presence of noble persons. And then to all those who would have reached out during the year, during time of sickness, during times of good health, and wish me well. I am absolutely grateful, and I also wish you all the best for the Christmas season and for the year 2026. For the management of the station, the owners, our engineer, and all those who would have sent us gifts and best wishes, all the best to you. And then to my entire friends and family, all the best for Christmas. I trust that you put Christ in the center of it, and that everything will work out to be excellent and wonderful. And so, all the best. Yes, I'm on.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly. Let me begin, of course, offer to you and to your children and all other persons just connected, family members. Best wishes to you for Christmas, and I want to say best wishes for Christmas to my immediate family members, 5 in the United States, my sister, Mrs. Agnes Benjamin in St. Kitts, and my other sister, Marion Brown here in Leeds. And all those persons who take their Saturday afternoon so serious to spend it with us. We want to wish you a blessed Christmas, and we You know, Kel, there is something I like to tell people what my late mother used to say. My late mother used to say that Christmas never have nothing. Wherever you give it, you don't take. So if you got bread and cheese for Christmas, Christmas never say, look, I'm not coming because I want ham. So whatever you give Christmas, you don't take. And so everybody enjoy Christmas, and I wish Kel the spirit of Christmas to perpetuate in society throughout the year. I really wish that.
All right. Sounds good to me. And of course, I repeat my blessings on all those who have stayed with us all these many months and years, listening to us week by week, tolerating us and our bad behavior at times. But we all appreciate you, we all love you, and we continue to fight in early 2026 as we seek to put Nevis first and foremost in our minds, make sure that Nevisians always come first in our own country. All right. So, with that said, if anybody want to call in and send greetings or just want to shout out, you could do that. If not, we will just take the messages off of the board on the Facebook feed as they come up. All right.
Really, let me say that
We are hearing that we are getting a lot of feedback.
on my microphone.
I don't know which one. Are all those microphones off down there? Make sure all those microphones are off for me. Those there, make sure they're turned off. Let's give it a second while we try and figure out where this feedback is coming from. All the mics are off except those being used. So what I'll do, I would shut you guys down and then ask for anybody to tell me whether they're still getting feedback. All right, if you're still getting feedback after this, then we have a ghost in the studio. Please somebody let me know. I'm the only one lit up right now. So if there is still feedback, then we have a bigger problem. And we think we have. Huh? You hearing it in your headset? Use a different headset. Turn off that one. Let's go to the phone lines and see if we have a greeting coming in. Good afternoon, you on target.
Good afternoon. Larry,
Yes, good afternoon.
call to wish all you a Merry Christmas, you and Todo, and Mr. Daniel,
Yes.
and Happy Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year when it comes. I hope I enjoy all you say for the New Year.
All right, thank you very
From
much.
Angela.
And
First
we-
time I call it.
All right, thank you very much for that. Call one of you guys. One of them, let them know that we're having a feedback situation here. Maybe they can advise us as what to do because we're getting it bad. All right, well, so we got one call so far, and another call coming in. Let's go to the phone. Good afternoon, you on?
Really good afternoon. And good afternoon, Tuno and Hensley. You're coming clear up here, you just sound like humming. I really don't, get the feedback from here.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're coming very clear up here.
All right.
Just sound like humming, no feedback.
Okay, cool.
Alright?
Yes. Appreciate that.
One shot.
All right.
One shot.
You can't hide the accent.
Because-
You can't hide the
because
accent.
of-
You ain't got to tell me where you're from. I don't know the accent a long time.
yeah, okay. Maybe I'll look later.
All
Okay.
right, thanks a lot. All right. I turned down the floor mic and let us see if that will solve that problem. Okay. All right. Okay. So you sound a lot better now. Sounds clearer. Don't you agree, that guys? Yeah. I think it You getting humming still? If yours is humming, then you got a problem. All right, we got to get going. We have a lot to talk about as usual, so we would endeavor to do that. No, I've turned down all the mics just a little bit. Okay. All right. Bear with us as we go through this exercise. Let me say good afternoon to Ricky, Brandy, and Adele McClendon, who signed on just a little while ago. Similar to Jeffers is here with us. She's wishing everybody happy Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Ovaltine lady herself. Earl Mascall is with us, and somebody else has signed on here. Okay, I think that Gemini Mystic up there in Canada. All right, let's go. That didn't take too long. Nobody want to say nothing to nobody. Earl Mascal is saying season's greetings to everybody. So that's coming from Earl. And there was a bunch of greetings early on that we missed out on. I think most of the persons who signed on early were sending greetings. So those persons on the Facebook feed, you can scroll back and see who was sending greetings. We don't have that capacity here. All right, if you have been following the news, news coming out of the U.S., and of course responses coming out of Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda regarding visa restrictions on their citizens moving to the States, persons applying for B, F, M, and J visas, B being of course for tourists and business class persons, F for students, M for vocational training, and J for those persons involved in exchange, education exchange programs, cultural exchange programs. All of those type visas have been now, as of January 1st, being restricted coming out of Dominica and Barbuda and Grenada, and Barbuda, sorry. Yeah. Now, I was a bit surprised of these restrictions because what was used as a premise for denying these visas to citizens of those countries was non-compliance with certain restrictions regarding CBI. And as far as I recognize, as far as I know, a whole lot of work has been done to comply with U.S. suggestions and recommendations as how to tighten all of the the CBI applications to make sure that terrorists do not slip through from our islands and holding our passport to the U.S. mainland. And so that is one of the reasons why our own CBI here on St. Kitts has suffered so tremendously, because of all of the restrictions. You had to be resident here for some time. You cannot change your name. Every single issue was responded to in copious manner, even above and beyond what was asked. And I know for a fact that all of these OECS countries who have CBI programs all signed the agreement, all agreed to do these things. And so when I saw the responses from Prime Minister Skerritt of Dominica and Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua, I was not surprised that they're saying, well, we don't know what happened because we have been in full compliance. But something, you always have to be suspicious of things these days. And I said, there got to be something else. There has to be something else that's driving this conversation. And so this morning I was reading a post by Gaston Brown and other persons, commentators out of Antigua. And it came out that the real issue was Antigua's non-compliance or piecemeal compliance with the American dictates regarding using Cuban medical doctors as part of their staffing for the hospitals and clinics. And Antigua had stood up and said, no, we have been in a long relationship with Cuba. We are not about to abandon our fellow Cubans. They have been there for us. But when the restrictions came down on visas, they noticed, all of a sudden, bam, bon voyage, adios amigos. So the Cubans are now being repatriated back to Cuba as I speak. Right? I do not know the situation with Dominica. I don't know why Dominica was targeted or what reason there is. I don't know if it's a contentious issue regarding Venezuela or something else that the American State Department does not like and therefore they turn the screws. But you see, it is evident, my friends. It is evident. Listen. I have no biases against anybody. I lived in the United States. I benefited from the generosity of the American government, the American people, throughout my education. My family, all my family lives in the U.S. territories. I have no animosity whatsoever. All right, let me put that up there first and foremost. None. I'm very grateful for all the help I would afford it, and my family has been afforded all these many years. All right? But we are now in a situation where we are not being appreciated as Caribbean people. We have always been the back door to America. We have always been the most supportive in this hemisphere of American policy, American ideas, culture, everything like that. But it appears that we are now no longer most favored. It appears now we are no longer looked upon as a good bet. All right? And so we are now being punished for whatever reason, or many reasons. Our tourist dollars have been spent in America. Our students' dollars have been spent in America. Our business dollars have been spent in America. We are a net importer of American goods and services. We don't export that much. That trade surplus with us is massive. Massive. It's always been a lopsided arrangement because, of course, they're close by. They have superpower. They have manufacturing and services. Everything that a country would need to move forward. But let us not lose our dignity over this. If we are not welcomed, we must find alternatives. Travel the region. Rather than going to North America, go to the Caribbean islands like I have done in the last 15 years. Or go to China. Go to Europe. Wherever. Go to the UK. Wherever you feel welcome. Spend your money where you feel welcome. Do not feel that you have to do this or you have to do that. You have the power of the dollar in your wallet. You're not begging for anything up there. You are spending.
You know, as you speak, you get the sense that we have been so, what's the word, cultured or being so misled to believe that enjoyment can only be in America. We are not two ways about it. You have the bargains and everything, but people are shopping online and so on. But in the Caribbean, you mentioned Travel Caribbean, there are five islands in the Caribbean which provide the greatest mix of visitors anywhere in the world. Jamaica, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, with the best mix of mountains and white sand beaches, rolling hills, which is not the case and in a lot of other islands. And plus, as you mentioned, we're in the backyard. We're right next to them. We are not, the problem is that we are no longer big in terms of the geopolitics. So, to the point you make, we are not as significant. In 1979, after that Maurice Bishop revolution in Grenada, we were big. As I have said before, I was teaching at Charleston Secondary in 1981, and the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador, Sally Shelton at the time, came to the school, and that was to reinforce American presence, and we are here for you. So, there has been a big
Yeah, we have not been seeing the kind of assistance to the region for some time.
We've been abandoned. The Chinese have come in.
The Chinese are coming, the Taiwanese are coming, the Russians have come in.
And so,
yeah, so I think a lot of this is geopolitics. Trying to make sure that persons understand who has a big stick in the region. But we don't need big stick policy right now. We need economic partnerships. We need support. Not if you want to keep people in the Caribbean in your homelands to develop their homelands, then the best thing to do is to help them develop their homelands. If you don't want them in your country.
But exactly. Because you know, you have this thing about migration. There's a push factor, which are the bad circumstances in the Caribbean. And there is the pull factor, which are the presumably good circumstances in America. So to me, we need to develop the Caribbean and to help us develop the Caribbean so that our people can stay. Because do you believe the average person necessarily? You went to America, American boy, in the 70s.
I had no choice.
When you look at it, the best option was America.
Yeah.
But given the situation where you improve, especially in the area of education and health and so on, people would stay in the region. And there is opportunity in the region.
When we look at the Trump administration and the people who heads that administration, it is clear Trump, Mike Johnson, Bangino, you name them. These people are anti-black and Hispanic. It's absolutely clear. Earlier this year, Trump would have given visa to, I think, was 60-something white people from South Africa to come into America, claiming that blacks are committing genocide against white people. So he gave them free visa to come in, and he's welcoming them to come in. He is targeting Nigeria and other black African countries. He wants to bomb them up because say that they're killing white people and they're killing Christians. When you look through the whole of Africa, the leaders that stood up and said that we are standing up in defense of our sovereignty and our black people, the Americans want to kill them. Now, because the Americans and the Europeans were forced out of Africa and have been forced out of Africa because we are no longer taking up their exploitation, they are now targeting us in the Caribbean. That is why Trump moved so much arsenal down here. He wants to kill Cuba, they couldn't get it killed. Well, they have it dying. He's going after Venezuela. They're going to come after all of us. They approached Antigua to put up something there to fight against me. Antigua said no. Dominica said no, we are not in favor of you. Barbados says no. And all the nations that leaders that said no, we are not in support of you fighting. We want the Caribbean to remain a zone of peace. America is targeting them. The sad thing about it, and perhaps it's good, Dr. Joe, when asked about where he stands on that, he's talking about diplomacy. Okay? Diplomacy with America, and we need America and what's not. And so he has taken this side of, I'm going to be with the Americans. Whatever they want to do to Venezuela, let them do. Gaston Brown 2 weeks ago was boasting and saying that because of his wisdom and his smartness and brightness like a Mark Brantley, that America will never ever take away visa free or put an embargo visiting on Antigua. So it can't happen. And now that it has happened, I want to know what his response is going to be. But the bigger picture here has nothing to do with our CBI. It has everything to do with that the Europeans who conquered Africa and dominated Africa and are pushed out of Africa, they're coming down to dominate us. And for me, what is vexing, that Johnson exposes the same type of mentality of Trump and Johnson them. They see black people as less than, and we are not supposed to be up there. The argument about, what they call it, when you hire black people, what they call it, DEI hire. Black people cannot do nothing, rise up to do nothing. That's their mentality. That's his Johnson mentality.
But let me ask you this.
That's his Mark Banty mentality.
Let me ask you this then. I mean, we have some very bright people in the Caribbean. A lot of our leaders have PhDs and masters and all sorts of qualifications. And we are hearing, we are responding on our knees, begging for a visa. I mean, really? With all the options in the world, really?
The leader in the Caribbean that I admire, and she has her weakness, Miss Motley. When that thing came out, Miss Motley said, listen, if it means that I will have to lose a visa to travel to America, so be it. But
But-
I
but-
am
but
going to
that-
stand with Cuba. I'm
but
going to
that-
stand with this.
But that needs to be the motto. All right, but CARICOM is fracturing and it's leaking support, especially with regards to Trinidad. We are moving in a dangerously new direction where divide and conquer seems to be the modus operandi. But, you know,
You know, I think that I think Errol Barrow it is who said this years ago, because you remember they were allowing the Cuban planes to refuel in Barbados to fly to Africa during the time of the liberation movement. And Errol Barrow said, look, we're friends of all, enemies of none. That's all we say. Friends of all, enemies of none. When Michael Manley was in government, Michael Manley started to say, as what you are saying, look, Jamaica, we don't support certain things. Next thing you find that Jamaica got Manley ended up on the wrong side. He sent back home a U.S. ambassador that was out of order jail for a black country to send home an ambassador. So then the whole thing blew up. Then came Siaga, we went right back, far right into with America. And we really have not moved since that. But I like the Errol Barrow thing and Eric Williams.
but that ain't gonna fly today.
no,
No,
friends of all.
yeah, I don't think they're gonna
Enemies
fly
of
today
none.
because the same zone of peace is that same mantra, friend to all, enemy to none. But it's not working because one of the largest countries and most powerful and most wealthy country, Trinidad, is taking a different course. All right, so they are, and there's a war between the leadership now in CARICOM. You know, Bisasa feels she's under attack and she's firing back. She's under attack by her own people in Trinidad regarding her alliance with America, unabashed alliance, in deference to her role in CARICOM. All right, so, you know, it is what it is. We're going to move on.
But you know, Kel, just to say, you know what is the problem with this? It is ordinary working people in the Caribbean who always have to carry these burdens.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to self-respect and dignity. If somebody don't want you in their country, stay in yours. Spend your money in yours. Build yours. I mean, what is so magical about that?
But when you say that, Dr. David, look at this.
Bring your mic over to it, please.
We have Spencer Brand, who would have had a proposed development for the zone. I've been hearing that Dion Daniel had about 2 or 3 before the government to do development in that zone. What our government has done, what our leadership has done, our leadership has not empowered Dion. As far as I'm concerned, they have not empowered Spencer apart from having the CIP for us to work together to develop that zone. He chose to bring in the same people that exposes the same mentality of Trump and his administration, what they're doing now. He's trying to bring not only Johnson, but approximately 30,000 of them to live next door to us. What do you think is going to happen? They are going to do the very same thing that the European ancestors did to us in the past. And now the children are coming back to wanting to do us the very same thing, and we are inviting them back to do it. And we must protest against this.
All right, we got to move on, folks. Thank you for that. Those commentaries. All right. Update on the court filing. You remember I would have indicated that there is a filing to be had on Wednesday of this week. Let's take this call here first. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Daily two things. One, I see saying I wish nobody having the panel last program. And two, Tulu, you can't take up for Spencer Brand sit down on the same panel for the project, you know.
I heard you.
Okay then.
Thank you, sir.
Good. All right.
All right. So, yes, last week I would have indicated that the matter will be filed on the following Wednesday. I've been advised by those in the know that the matter has been delayed deliberately for strategic reasons. I cannot disclose those reasons for obvious reasons, of course. But it is not because the case is not ready to be filed. It is absolutely ready. The persons are ready to go. But there is a decision that has to be made that is very strategic, and therefore that is what is delaying the filing. And when it is done, it will be done. I can guarantee you that. All right, that will be your New Year gift.
So you need to you're reminding the people. Reassuring the people.
Of course. There's no cowardice, there's no backing down, and this is just a strategic decision, which I'm not at liberty to disclose at this point. All right. I'm hearing still that somebody saying there's a noise on the broadcast still. Okay. Well, I don't know what it is. We have tried everything here, and so we just have to grin and bear it. It happens sometimes like that. All right. Report from the High Court. I would have been in attendance in the High Court for the last 2 months or so, and I've been waiting for the opportune time to report to you what's been happening at the High Court on Nevis, and some very interesting matters, civil cases, and both cases involved our offshore banks, two of them, the one in Barnesgut and the one down there in Cotton Ground. So I started the one in Barnesgut since that's the first one.
Oh, that's Hamilton.
Don't call the name. What's wrong with you, my son?
I'm asking.
The one in Barnesgut, we refer to as the I Bank, all right? And the one down in Cotton is the B Bank. So in the matter of the I Bank and the B Bank, there's some things in common. Number of things in common. Let's discuss that first. And what they have in common is the fact that depositors are having a hell of a time. As a matter of fact, zero result in getting their monies out. Tens of millions of dollars of depositors are not accessible, and it has been like that for a couple of years. The court is ram-packed with lawsuits trying to for persons who deposited their money with these two banks and cannot get their money back. All right? Now here's the conundrum. The way the banking ordinance is set up, it is causing some of the problems we are seeing. All right? Now, both banks have only one local director. One local director. The I Bank has one and the B Bank has one. All of the other directors are offshore. Offshore. And if they are inaccessible or unaccessible or not available, then the local one here has to take the fall. Has to take the fall. They're the ones who have to be served with warrants. They're the ones who have to come to court to answer why the bank cannot pay the people's money. They're the ones who have to face committal warrants. And a committal warrant meaning that your butt will be ending up at 1840 if the depositors cannot get their money. And we also saw that recently with the B Bank, when the local director was in prison for a week. He has since been missing in action. Nobody can find him. Every single bailiff in the Federation of Sinks and News have been looking for this man. I don't know where he is, but he is unavailable and has been unavailable for the last few months since he came out of prison. His claim is that he was mortally wounded in prison. I don't know if somebody penetrated him. I don't know if somebody caressed him into submission. I do not know. But his claim is that he had to sleep on the floor among 14 other prisoners. He was very uncomfortable. He's suffering from mental stress. And I wonder then, if he's suffering from mental stress for being in prison for a week, what about all the people who have done life savings, the millions of their trust funds into these banks and cannot move a penny? What about those people? Where's the justice for those people? And so that matter with both banks is still very much live. The iBank has one director, a local director. We all know who it is. I think it's the husband of the legal advisor. And he has been terrified by all of the committal warrants being sworn against him, but yet he still remains employed. He still refuses to resign. If I was here, I'd done resign first day. Let somebody else take the fall. All right? So those two local directors are the ones who are facing the brunt of the court. Yeah, I mean, I was in court on Monday for one matter, and the COO, Chief Operations Officer, is an African gentleman. His testimony was, I don't know, right? I am not a director. I don't know what's going on in the bank. I don't handle money. I don't know anything about no finances, right? But you could see clearly that he was not being true. Because on the cross-examination, he was asked about the audit committee of the board. You know, the audit committee is the one who handles the money. You know, they know the financial situation of the board. And the question was that, are you aware of the audit committee? He said, yes. Are you aware of the work of the audit committee? Yes. Are you on the audit committee? I had to pause, trying to figure out when he should answer that. But he knew he was caught out. So CO. And so he had to admit he's on the audit committee, which is a committee of the board. So you must know. But the argument from his attorneys was, listen, even though he might be on the audit committee, it does not mean he has sight of these documents or he's authorized to disclose anything from these documents. So what the gist of this is a scam operation. These banks are scam operations. Because when it comes to a situation like this, there are no answers except to go to jail. It does not mean you'll get your money back. And I doubt very much, especially with the big bank. But these people will not get them. That is my opinion. You could jail all these local directors for as long as you want. That money is gone. It tells you there's a failure in the FSRC regulations and compliance. There is something fundamentally wrong.
How did we license banks of this nature?
You see, with local banks, you have to put a deposit at central bank.
You require reserve,
You got to put a reserve. There's insurance to protect your loss of assets. There's nothing like that.
And then there is the central, but then nobody central bank and the local bank has a major supervisory role. Regular there's a banking and supervision division in the central bank which monitors on a regular basis the conduct of business of the local banks, you know.
So you're saying that the international bank has nobody to regularize them, to check them out, they just do as they feel like? Well, this is a recipe for disaster.
Because you see, the banking is serious business, and banking is about confidence and everything else. You heard the central bank governor Timothy Iron said the other day.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you hear me?
Yes.
I know the three are you. I shouldn't even ask that this question. I will listen in the House of Assembly. Right to the budget.
We're gonna get to that. Don't jump the gun.
By what do you call the money again? Equal share. Right? I want to know why you think it's a nearest passport. So if you make $100, we keep 70% of your price, so you go. So here, this talking all the time. No, Mark said you won't be getting anything. No, he gets from unity, they get the most money. Right? Because of the 70 years, you were talking about the 70 years. But if you are talking like before then the money they become sufficient. If you make a bargain with somebody who gets $10 and they give you $4, you don't make noise. You gonna make them feel now to make that about it? Eh? Will them make sense? The other country, the people that won't listen, they won't vote for them. Them ain't not so right. Them they can't so right for politicians as white people. Them they can't, I would not say that. I don't make no to be here. So they how it up. He said that the woman from thinking they join the Navy to join the field, Unity Party. Then they make agreement, they sign. But if you don't sign nothing to eat, that means you don't must eat nothing to them. That's what I mean, you know. You can't believe these people could talk to one nonsense. Eh? You say you don't join nothing with you. And you know when you're round up, you have to wait till you know, like have about $20-something million short of paying the money from the Navy. If the money supposed to share both, share it. You can't get the amount and don't get the bigger half. You agree with that? But if it's supposed, if $100 you get, and 40 for you, give you 40, it's 60. Don't you 35. That's an okay politician you are talking about. So here, you understand?
All right.
Okay, continue to listen. We'll answer your question a little later. Continue to listen.
I wanted to ask, what is in the court case, was there any mention at all about the Financial Services Regulatory Commission?
Nobody was there from that. This is a lawsuit between those two entities, separately of course, and the creditors and the depositors. So FSRC was not there.
No, what I mean is that the persons representing the depositors, aren't they?
Who's representing the depositors?
The lawyers.
Nobody representing the depositors. No. I mean, people have lawyers. That's what you mean.
Yeah, the lawyers. I would have thought that they would get something from the FSRC to say, okay.
But they have documentation from them to prove what they're saying. But in trying to get money out, short of liquidating the banks, the money is not kept here. So if you even liquidate the banks and the assets of the bank, how do you get hold of it? You can't. The money is offshore somewhere. So this is almost like a good faith thing where I give you $2 million and expect when I want it, it's going to be there. But it goes to the character of the people that you bring here to license.
Trust.
You bring crooks, you're going to get crookish behavior. Okay.
Well,
all right,
that reminds me of Jonathan Christian Berry. Really said that he can't put his money into Fidelity, whatever Fidelity it was, and didn't get back a dime. And so these scams seems to be a common thing on the shores of Nevis, which is very, very unfortunate. I wonder the answer perhaps is that we are high crime. Maybe that we're talking about not violence among our people, but those white collar crimes.
All right, we're moving on. You guys, just to say this, you guys, if you ever have free time, whether it's criminal assizes or civil, you really need to go to the court and listen. It's very, very interesting to see the sparring between the lawyers, both lawyers and the judge. And, you know, it's very, very interesting stuff.
You're right, because when I had to listen to my lawyer versus Mark Banting's lawyer, when he sued me, it was an interesting debate to listen. Yeah. It was fantastic to listen both of them anything.
And, you know, if you're the judge caught in the middle of that, you have to try and sift out the what do you call it, the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah.
And
truth from the lie.
I marvel at the depth of knowledge of our jurists here on Nevis. Both the trial lawyers and the judge, I give them high commendations because everybody is holding on to their point. Everybody has to be disproved, and it is a matchup, you know, that you have to admire, you know, and you know the judge we have. I mean, I'm certain he realizes that he has many detractors here on Nevis, but in my humble opinion, he's very bright, perhaps too bright.
You mean the local judge?
Yeah, I mean, Thompson. He's a very.
Moving soon.
Yeah, he's being transferred to St. Kitts, and Justice Morley is coming to Lewis. You know, so that should be an interesting transition.
Kel, I have been to the court several. I used to go to the court mainly for the criminal offense, but it seems like this is a criminal. They are known as civil matters, but based on what you're saying, the underlying thing is criminal.
It's criminal. It's meant to defraud.
Of course, which is criminal. Yes.
And I'm surprised that the lawyers for the claimants have not moved, especially now we have the anti-corruption bill being in effect since last year. They have not moved to institute that because based on behavior and the abject disregard for the civil procedures,
right,
something else needs to be done.
And Kel,
because you have about 8 civil cases right now against the B Bank.
What?
About 12 against the I Bank.
That's a 20.
You're talking about tens of millions of people's money
Hundreds of millions.
tied up.
Yeah.
FRCC can't do anything. Certainly, Central Bank, Development Bank, Central Bank can't do anything about it. It is now left to the court to sift out all these. But right now, the court is operating with its hands tied, his eyes blindfolded, because the directors. You have to find the directors to be on the trial because they are then viewed as same as the institution.
Here's some part of the trouble now, Kel. If we are not managing these financial institutions, it raises issues about the confidence with regular, good, well-intentional banking services, well-intentioned banking services. So I was saying, Kel, that this kind of fraudulent conduct by offshore banks has a way of affecting confidence in the regular local banks. And I think there is something that has to be done quickly to protect the jurisdiction.
It's not, we are not saying that all offshore banks are bad, but in this case, the evidence that we have these two.
They can be bad too because the regulations need to change. You must have money on deposit that people can get their money back. You must have more than one local director so that you can be found when you need to be coming to trial to answer.
And Kel,
right?
you know, Kel, in
the owners, and I would insist that the owners must be a director.
Yeah, and the local banks.
These owners are not directors of their own banks.
But with the local banks, that is why the banks say you have to have capitalization of a certain amount to have a bank. The directors, they even nowadays have this thing where you have to have an independent director who has no money in the bank, but who is able to look at things independently because they feel this is how far banking has gone. I don't understand how on one hand the regular banking services have taken through a string of restrictions. For instance, I am based on the coming out of the US, the Financial Action Task Force. By virtue of being in politics, I'm a politically exposed person. So if I take more than $5,000 EC dollars to the bank, I have to fill out a form to say proof of thing, where I get the money. And I have done work for regional organizations, and I have to fill out the proof of thing, source of funds, I call it. So what I'm saying is, on one hand, we have all these regulations. How is it possible for all these things to happen?
Because we pride ourselves as being very secretive in our banking laws, offshore banking laws, much to the point where depositors are put in danger. We got to move on, folks, because
before you go there, let me ask you a question. Who gives the license for these banks to
the
operate?
Minister of Finance.
One person makes that decision.
Big time.
That's right.
Big time.
Okay.
But the central bank gives the license for other banks.
I.
Right, there's also no more than I.
You start to stammer. With the truth, you stammering.
Nothing else more than that. I. Move on, Jerry.
All right. There was a polling done, recent poll, regarding the SSZ. Destiny. All right. And it was reported by Dwyer Astafan. And he is now reporting the details of the poll. And here are the results and the questions. Question 1. And by the way, 150 persons in each federal constituency. We have 3 federal constituencies on Nevis. Nevis 9, which involves St. Paul's and St. John's combined. Nevis 10, which is Gingerland. Nevis 11, St. Thomas's and St. James. So you have 3 federal seats on Nevis and 150 persons in each constituency for a total of 450 were polled with a few questions. And I'm going to read the questions to you and the results of the poll. All right? Here goes. Question 1. Are you aware of the proposed project by Destiny Group to acquire 2,000 acres of land on Nevis to establish a colony or community? Results in constituency 9, 92% said they were aware. In 10, 92% said they were aware. And in 11, 94% said they were aware. Question 2. Do you believe that you know enough about this project? In constituency number 9, 50% said that they know enough. In constituency 10, 65% said they know enough. And in 11, 59% said they knew enough. Question 3. Are you in favor of this project? In 9, 67% said they were not in favor. In constituency 10, 55% said they were not in favor. In constituency number 11, 69% said they were not in favor. Question 4. Do you trust the project leader? And you know the project leader is one Olivier Johnson. In constituency number 9, 72% said they do not trust the leader. In 10, 56% said they did not trust him. And in 11, 82% said no. All right. Question 4. Do you think that he has the best interests of Nevis and our federation at heart? In number 9, 79% said no. In number 10, 57% said no. And in number 11, 82% said no. Last question. Do you think the SSC Act should be cancelled? In number 9, 61% said yes. In number 10, 56% said yes. And in number 11, 75% said yes. All right? That is it. Now remember that 9, all federal seats are being held by CCM. Number 9 is Mark Brantley, who's the Premier of Nevis also. You have Eric Evelyn in number 10. And of course, Zook Jeffers over there in number 11. All right? So this polling is a referendum on what persons think about the development, what they think about the leader of the development, and by the extension, what they think about the very leadership here in Nevis that is pushing this development down our throats. If persons on average, especially in St. John's has the highest number of rejection after St. James, they're telling the leader, they're telling the Premier, we do not want this. We do not trust the leader, we do not trust the development, we do not want this, we want a repeal. But yet the leader of the country is persisting.
But he told us clearly that it doesn't matter what we say. Our voices ended when we voted for him and his government. Anything that you had to say, you said before that. After that, it is left to him to do whatever he wants. So he made it clear he's not listening to the people. He's not going to listen to us.
Phil, what I like, there are two things I have here. Two things I just want to point out very quickly. One is the consistency of opinion in constituency 11. very high in regard to the trust factor. Question 3 is on the issue of trust. And my position is, if you're coming to a country to develop the project and the trust level is so low, what in God's world will tell you that you must pursue? And then the final question, Kel, and the cancellation. The higher the number of people, the percentage of people agreeing with cancellation is over.
I mean, repeal.
Yeah, repeal is over 60%. None of the constituencies was under 60%.
For repeal? Yeah.
That's correct. Right. Which tells you that most people want it done. And most importantly, and to all of the people who have added their voices, the radio stations, the independent thinkers, and all the associations and so on, the Historical Society, Chamber of Commerce and so on. Notice what it says in number 1, Ken? The people say they know about it. They are aware of it because it's critical that people are aware, and then you have the movement in the continuum where people are saying, yeah, we are aware, and question 3, we don't trust if that possible, and you know what? And number 5, we agree it should be written.
Let me say thanks to Dr. Daly for bringing the awareness, starting up this thing so people could be aware. We'll take the call and I'll pick up.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Daly and my brother.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
This poll,
sis.
yes, good afternoon. This poll that was taken has shown that the people of this island or the country, they say no. So how could anybody else disregard what we are saying? This land is ours. And we are saying no. And up to this point in time, I think I'm correct here, nobody has spoken to the owners that asked for permission to use their property. So what are these people trying to prove? They need to send these people off the island. Is there any way that we could just send them off the island, get rid of them? We don't want them here. And we said already no to SSZ and no to Destiny, and it will continue. And they cannot and will not get our land. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a defiant call, you know.
Mr.
It's a
Thanks.
very defiant call.
Thanks to Daly for bringing the awareness. Thanks for calling Lawrence for posing the question to the Premier, and then for all those who joined in the fight, especially Charles Gaskell and his father, okay, all those who joined in this fight. People are aware. Secondly, when it comes to the trust factor, when Johnson, who is heading this, is saying that he has been doing this on this quest to have his colony for years, and he did not tell anybody, he did not want anybody to know. When the Premier of Nevis, when asked about it, and he denied it, down to a rumor he knows nothing, then if we cannot trust Mark Brantley, who is the leader of our country, we cannot trust Janssen, who is the creator of this destiny thing, then who else we're going to trust? We cannot trust them. I'm happy the people let me say, listen, we cannot trust you.
Mr. Weeks, trust is the raw material that holds relationships together.
And if there is no trust, okay.
And all, you see the other matter that Kel mentioned about banking, the trouble is trust. And if the people in Nevis are saying that we don't trust Johnson, we think he should be cancelled, and we don't trust the leader, we don't trust him, what does that mean? That what we say don't matter? Well, the critical issue is that the people of Nevis have to remind themselves, yes, we matter. Yes, we matter, and we shall continue to matter.
I would love to see a poll asking the people if they trust Mark Brantley. And see how many person. We're supposed to get 100% in our constituency that we don't trust him.
All right. There are two letters of interest that we need to put on record. The first one was written on December 13, at least it was made public on December 13, and that is a letter written by King's Counsel, J. Emile Ferdinand of the law firm Kelsick, Wilkin and Ferdinand. And Kelsick, Wilkin and Ferdinand is the oldest practice on syncets, having been started in 1947. What? They've been around for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
I was not even an idea.
The great Fred Kelsey.
I was not even an idea. All right. What's notable about this letter, and I'm going to read portions of it for you, not the whole thing, that Mr. Ferdinand is calling for the release of the draft development agreement, and he claims that, and is rightfully so, that it is essential for any meaningful discussion to occur. Outside of not releasing it, then we are just spinning top in mud. All right. So I want to read to you something that he said. Here we go. Apart from, this is his words, apart from concerns regarding sovereignty, whether the Special Sustainability Zone Authorization Act will have a positive impact in the Federation or have a disastrous effect will depend upon the content or terms of any related development agreement. It is the detail in these development agreements which is where the rubber meets the road. To my mind, disclosure of the draft development agreement is therefore essential for any meaningful consultation to take place with the bar. Remember, with the bar. Okay? I read on. Even without having been afforded any opportunity to look at the proposed terms of any relevant draft documents, it seems clear that the SSCA 2025 intends to vest in the zone developers some, one, legislative power, and he cites the portion of the act to prove it, and two, executive authority, and again he quotes section of the act to prove it. Paragraph 3, he says, we ought to be especially troubled, I read it wrong. Let me start again. What ought to be especially troubling to us as lawyers is the masked or misleading reference to sections 61I4 to the prospect of the developer establishing its own judiciary. The wording of the act, at the very least, leaves it open to the zone developer to establish its own magistrate courts and or other alternative dispute resolution mechanisms for adjudicating disputes within the zone area. All right? And last paragraph I'm going to read, paragraph 4. It is possible that the terms of the proposed development agreement will expressly stipulate that these legislative and executive powers and judicial authority are not exercisable by this inaugural development agreement. But it is equally possible that the said agreement may provide for the agreement to negatively impact the usual and established government authority. So, Mr. Wilkin, as with, not Mr. Wilkin, Mr. Ferdinand, as with Mr. Wilkin, they were the same law firm. Two of the senior men in the same law firm have taken the time to pen their objections and their concerns regarding the SSC and its conflict with our constitutional provisions. All right? Any questions on that, gentlemen, or should we move to letter 2?
What I'm thinking, you have these two learned lawyers are saying that when you have the Premier and the Prime Minister, their counter-argument is, well, why do you want to see the development agreement because we didn't see it for 4 seasons and we didn't see it for this? And so they are pushing back. we have already said that the forces and all the others agreement at arrangement are totally different to destiny. And so Mark Bantley and Dr. Drew are still hell bent and giving Johnson what he wants.
I think I read the letter from Emily Ford, and I share that view that with all the discussions that have gone on before, it is now time to release the agreement. That's where the rubber hits the road. Let us see, because I agree with Emily. Outside of that, we are talking around the thing, and we need to be able, because you see, it is the agreement which is critical.
But they are not minded to, because to push back against the call for it, they're saying, well, it never happened before. So since it never happened before, why do it now?
But it never happened before. You have to establish no zone.
There was no need before.
There was no need for that.
All right. The second letter is from the Bar, St. Kitts Bar Association. Very interesting letter. Very comprehensive. It did not call for repeal as the chamber letter did, which disappointed me, and I expressed that resolutely. I'm not ashamed to say that I was disappointed that they didn't expressly call for repeal.
Right, that you were looking for repeal.
I was looking for repeal. But by default, after discussing it with some colleagues of mine and hearing the wisdom of their words, it's a repeal by default. Because based on what the president wrote of the bar, the president bar wrote, the severity of the structural changes that will need to occur to satisfy what the bar requires would require repeal.
So it's
technically a repeal. All right?
Well, and of course, Kel, the lawyers have a way of saying it without saying it.
They're saying it without saying it. So
Saying
it leaves it up to you to say, this ain't going nowhere. This has to be repealed.
Yes.
But let me read some interesting portions of it for you. And the president of the bar, of course, is Curly Merchant, one of our learned attorneys here on Nevis. And it took him some time to respond, to give the opinion. And this is a resolution of the bar, mind you. This is not so much a position. It's a resolution. All right. So, section 4, paragraph 4A of the letter from the bar reads, in the context of the preamble to the Constitution and in exercise of its duties under the Legal Profession Act, the Bar Association has deep concerns regarding the structure and operation of the SSC Act, including but not limited to A, the apparent intent of the government to use the SSC Act to allow the delegation to a developer of legislative powers which by constitution are granted exclusively to the Parliament and the Nevis Island Assembly. This is exactly what Ferdinand just said. You are ceding authority to a private developer. B says, the apparent intent of the government to use the act to allow the delegation and to the developer executive powers which by the Constitution are granted to the executive. Basically the same thing. Both learned attorneys, Ferdinand and Merchant of the legal chambers of the Bar Association are saying the same thing. You are giving away authority. You are ceding authority. You are ceding control of the executive. You are ceding control over the judiciary. All right? And that is unconstitutional. It is not in keeping with the issues of sovereignty. All right? And so let me get down to the resolution part of it now. And it says here, we know therefore the bar resolves that the SSZ should be fundamentally restructured to eliminate the adverse consequences stated above to democracy and to the rule of law and to the existing laws of the country. and to the rights of the people and to focus its provision strictly on promoting economic development. All right. So what the chamber, what the bar is now saying, there is so much structural damage that this thing has created.
It's like you go by your house, Kev, and you say, you have somebody look at your house and you say, Dr. Daly, in order for you to continue living here, this house has to be fundamentally restructured.
So, what the bar association is saying, there's so much structural inadequacies in this legislation, all right, that it needs to be severely restructured. Now, here's the thing. This SSZ came about to satisfy the requirements of this development of Johnson. They want autonomy. They want to run their own show. They want their own court system. They want their own police. They want their own security. They want everything. So this was created. This animal was created for that purpose. But if the bar's resolutions are adopted in full, SSZ now become an SEZ, a special economic zone, because all of the entitlements over autonomy be disappearing. All of the issues regarding courts and customs, all those disappear. And you're now back to square one, which is a special economic zone and not a special sustainability zone.
Economic zone is reasonable with all the problems.
But the problem still persists. You know why it still persists? Because even if you're degrading the SSZ down to a SEZ, the 15,000 persons still remain. They are still CBI citizens. They still can vote. They still can buy land. They still can occupy Nevis. All right? So, fundamentally speaking, we still have a problem.
Yeah, we still have a problem.
Even if the SSZ is morphed into an SEZ, we're going to still have an existential threat to the survivability of Nevis. Because then you still have the population coming in with the big money. They still have a right to vote. They still have a right to buy land and all that. They still have a right to dominate us. All right? So what I'm suggesting that must happen, this argument now must move beyond what we are now to a point to say, listen, we must now look at limiting the amount of residents here on Nevis of this type so that we don't get overpowered. If you want to come individually as families or wherever, fine, but you cannot now be allowed to populate.
So eliminate the whole concept of zones.
Of course.
Yes. Eliminate the entire.
Of course.
Zones gotta go.
All right. We now have to have the conversation because the threat still remains, even if it's a SSZ. I'm sorry, a SEZ. It still remains. So we must limit the size of the development. We must now have. We have to now start talking about land use. We now start to talk about land lease over land sale. We now have to be serious if we are now going to be making sure that our generation succeed us in good stead. We must now ensure the survivability of Nevis. And if we do not modify these arrangements regarding land ownership, the size of development, we will not have accomplished anything. This has been a bellwether. This is a wake-up call that we need a new thinking.
Well, you know, Kel, this is an important juncture where we can redirect, restructure, and reorganize matters of land use, population, development, agreements, and have this is the kind of conversation we need to have. A conversation which says, okay, we must make provisions for land, and a conversation, Kel, to get that 220 acres, what they say are entitled. That conversation there, going forward in future, because I am to believe that there are more lands like that, right? There are more lands like that. And that to say that anytime such lands, we find such lands, they must be advertised, and where there is no owner showing up, those lands become the property of the government and vested in the Land and Housing Corporation. So I agree with you. There's a conversation for population, there's a conversation for the level of investment, there's a conversation for the level of engagement of the local people, in development. And there is a conversation which you had mentioned, Kel, before. The whole idea, this is a marvelous opportunity, in my view, for a private-public partnership to do something different for Nevis.
So Simeon would have told us sometime back that we must do the very same thing that you were saying it up today. Stop selling off large tracts of lands to foreigners. Lease them for development over a period of time. And when they lease, if you lease them for 100 years, the land still belongs to us. But when you sell it out to them, it is out of our hands and it is into their hands. And unfortunately, we did not took his advice on board. And so we are at this juncture where we have a premier who is so gullible that he is willing to sell Navy short. He has assets all over the place. Why he not sell them?
There's a comment here on the Facebook feed I find very interesting. It's from Roberto Chapman. He's writing, the problem are the rights attached to economic citizenship. That is very profound. The rights attached to economic citizenship. They have the same rights as the Indian.
Should not.
Exact same rights.
Should not.
But you can't prevent it.
How you gonna be a citizen but not? You can't be a
You
citizen.
can't prevent it.
You can't be a citizen but you're a citizen.
Either you're citizens or you're not.
Right.
Right? So the CBI has created a monster, and we all admit that is now unleashed or has the potential to be unleashed. You see, when people were dispersed across the world, they had our passport, but they're not here. It was an easier to conceptualize. But now you have destiny in your face. It shows the real danger that these chickens can come home to roost. And we can become minorities overnight.
And now you're asking, and now based on what the Americans are saying, that they know, and the international community is saying, there must be a residency component.
But they're not resident.
Right. So if the people are resident,
they can vote.
Of course. So you could tell people they're citizens.
Dr. Drew would have informed the nation that he has all intentions, I'm assuming in the new year because already the year is finished, that he will put together an advisory committee on the SSZ, and he would want as part of that advisory committee to be represented. It will be the SKN Bar, SKN Chamber, the church, Rastafari, and other groups. Now,
Civil society.
well, other groups. All right. Now, here's the thing. You already have very profound correspondence from the chamber. You already have very profound correspondence from the bar. And these are perhaps the brightest luminaries, persons involved in the major trading houses, the major law firms and major law interests. I don't think you'll get more astute than this. And if you are simply to look at what they wrote, take it to your AG and have the AG look at this and say, listen, boy, let us see how we can reconstruct and save some time.
So you think we get enough material to work with?
We have enough material to work with, by far.
That's what you say. We have enough material.
I mean, you have a three-page letter, well articulated letter from the bar. You have a 3-page letter from, some page from the chamber, 3 pages from Ferdinand. So, I mean, you have historical on record, you have the evangelical people, you have enough.
And you have civil society.
So the question then is, there are 2 questions. Why is Jew still thinking of impaneling? Why? He's simply buying time. Because he knows it's been 5 months. 5 months later, since all this uproar started, and he is now seeing the light to impanel this group. He's buying time. The persons have given him a deadline of December. He said, listen, I can't do nothing by December because I just got the panel together. So he's buying time. Let's go to the call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, gentlemen. Real quickly, I don't see how Dr. Jew tried to distance himself from this Nevis Destiny project, right? Then he says he is going to set up an advisory committee to oversight this SSD stuff. And these NGOs is speaking up against it. So how can he get those persons to be a part of that advisory committee? What are those NGOs going to do? Sell out what they believe in? And my question to you quickly is, was that judicial review filed Wednesday of this week? We need to get that updated. We need the people to get that updated. And with that poll and with all the kickback, I don't see how the people can now sit there and let this Destiny project happen. And to end out the year, man, maybe you need to play that clip with that lady who was talking to Mark at the Tinderland town hall meeting. Is that Colleen Lawrence or whatever her name is? We need to probably play that. I'm requesting for you to replay that clip if you can. If not, we get it another time, so we can see where we came from and where we are right now. And I wish everybody happy holidays, and we see what the new year brings. Thanks, man.
Thank you. All right, we got another call coming in. Let's go straight to the call. Good afternoon, you're on target. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, Daily.
Good afternoon.
I want to disagree with you with the right to vote for the SS11 people, because in truth and in fact, they're not part of us. They're citizens, but you realize they separate themselves. So how could they get the right to vote when they're not taking part?
Because you're a citizen and you have every right to vote.
No, you're missing the point. They're citizens, but they're not paying tax, and they're exclusive from us. So they cannot have the same right as us, because we paying tax and we have a right to vote. They separate, they're not paying tax. How we could give them the right to vote?
Then change the constitution.
Just so they don't want to pay the tax. Just so they don't want to pay the tax, and they want to separate. Well, let them still separate.
Okay.
That is my logic.
All right, I hear you. Thank you much.
Total agreement with you.
All right, brother. Thanks. Whether you agree with me or not is irrelevant. You know?
The Constitution.
The Constitution. Once you are a citizen and you're a resident, nobody can deny you the rights of a citizen. Nobody. That's why you have to be careful.
The Premier said
You cannot have two classes of citizens. Either you're a citizen or you're not. So you see, I don't have the luxury of emotion on this matter. I do not have the luxury of ethics on this matter. I only have the luxury of knowing what is the constitutional provision for persons who are citizens of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Full stop. I might not like it, but I can't do a thing about it.
But Kel, you know that is the basis for the civil rights movement in the US, where Martin Luther King would say, hey, we are Americans. We are born and bred. The Constitution says everybody is citizen. But you deny me all the rights of access to things. And so this thing has to be stopped. And I think that's a good guidepost to start.
All right. The second thing about this committee, advisory committee.
You're not a member?
No.
You make the list?
No. All right. I said before, I believe it's an attempt by Dr. Drew to slow down the process. All right. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
How are you, sir?
Are you saying that the Constitution, as written, means that once you're a resident here, you have the right to vote?
That's what I'm saying.
Because it is not, I mean, you as obnoxious as the concept might be, you could have first and second class. For instance, I mean, even though you might be a citizen of the United States,
And if you're naturalized, you can't be president. You have to be born.
No, we're talking about basic rights. We're not talking about the right to run for government or anything like that. We're talking about basic human rights. You cannot deny a citizen, resident on Nevis, the right to purchase property or to vote. You can't do it. It's impossible to do. So there are certain provisions. There are certain carve-outs. There are certain carve-outs, like you can put in requirements that you must be natural born to be president or to be premier or prime minister. You can put in those. But in terms of denying somebody a right to vote, you can't do that. The Constitution does not allow that.
Well, you see, because, I mean, I heard Hansi Mitchell say...
And she's wrong.
She's wrong.
She's wrong.
Okay,
she's wrong. She's dead wrong.
Has that been tested in court, though?
It has been tested, as a matter of fact. It didn't even reach the court. A friend of mine was representing, a law firm, friend of mine in law firm was representing a CBI citizen who had every intention of being part of the process. Right? And when that person was told, no, you can't register, a letter was being formatted at the legal chambers, handed to the supervisor of elections, and that was the end of that. The person was, come and register, you have a right to register.
But it didn't actually go to court.
It didn't have to, because they knew they had no legal standing.
Okay. So,
people have a way of talking,
in the sense that it really has not gone through the court.
People have a way of talking to make you feel like, discourage people from taking a course. But this cannot stand up in any court. Once you are a citizen and resident of Nevis, you are entitled to vote. Nobody can deny you that.
Yeah.
Not a single soul.
Well, one of the things I found obnoxious from the beginning was this idea that because the proposal has not been finalized, then we shouldn't speak about it. Right? You should not. There are no concerns there. The fact is, you can bet. Well, for one thing, there were snippets coming out that we had to absolutely express outrage about. Like, for instance, the scale of it in terms of the amount of land and the number of families that are supposed to be here, right? But in addition to that, there are examples around the world where some bad things have happened, and I think you've mentioned some of them, like in Honduras, okay? And so people should be put on notice that we don't want that to happen in our case. Because if left to negotiating with our current type of leaders, I am not sure where they're going to go. Honestly, there's a trust deficit. I don't trust them to do the right thing. Trust them to do the more convenient thing for themselves, but not the right thing for the country. Unfortunately, as unfortunate as it may sound. So it's very, really good that people are expressing, even if it's worst case scenarios, they should do it, because sometimes it's not what just in the legislation, it's what's not there, okay? And there are certain things we absolutely don't want to happen, and that should be in my opinion, that should be in the legislation, that it cannot happen and then have to be challenged. Right?
Right.
The last thing, this you call it a stalling tactic. Well, you, I think, were being generous. It might be at the worst case. If you notice the composition, I don't think the opposition was in it, right? There were all kinds of other groups, some of which had expressed reservations or opposition, and they were there. And one has to wonder if this was not an attempt to neutralize them by putting them on this committee.
On this committee. You got a point.
right? Again, like I said, I don't trust the motive, right? Um, what it seems like to me is that the Dr. Joe has become very political. I don't think it started out as a political animal, so to speak, but he has become very political. And I'm getting the impression that a lot of decisions that are made they are made with politics in mind. Not so much the interests of the country, but politics. And that is not necessarily a good thing, I think, for the country.
Right.
So, yes, we have to wait, as the King's Council suggested, that we have to wait to see what the proposal says. And there was this idea that, well, the Premier was listening to concerns expressed. So what the proposal might end up being is something that is indeed palatable to the vision. May not be palatable to the developers, but that's another story. But while we wait, and the deadline is fast approaching, while we wait, I still feel that it should not be allowed to die down and to stop talking about it, and then something sneaks up again under our noses, like how the bill, when it first entered Parliament, was done.
Yeah.
Okay? Pretty much on the radar until Destiny Project started coming to life, and we realized that the bill, which is now an act, was actually facilitating what they had in mind. Okay? So we have to remain vigilant. I think. That's the bottom line.
Thank you very much, caller.
Okay, now.
All right. We got a call coming in here. Good afternoon, you on target.
Yeah, good afternoon, Daily.
Good afternoon.
Listen, we gotta really focus on this thing here. You got 10,000 residents coming into a country, taking up 6 miles, making their own laws. Nobody can tell them nothing. And you telling me they're citizens? Regular citizens come in and bill and they follow the government laws. This is not the regular thing. Otherwise, our argument about this thing is mute. We can't be oh, they're going to overrun the country and they're going to take over this and take over the land and still saying it's under the Constitution. Well, if they were coming in and buying their land, I could understand. But this is not regular citizen thing. They talk about Dubai. Nobody in Dubai is business. And let me tell you something. They're talking about the first zone. The Virgin had the first zone, Hess, for 60 years. 2 cents a barrel, had enough current to feed the whole Caribbean. And today the Virgin Islands still suffering the current problem. They cannot have the same right that they're going to make law for you. You're the teacher, they only make law for you, and then we can't make law for them. And you're telling me this?
Well, you see, the argument I have, there's a simple solution, caller. Very simple solution. Very, very simple.
Well,
put a government in place that you can trust to stop this nonsense.
Simple. What are you talking? No, it's not about the government. It's about the logic right now.
But it's about government, because if government is not going to lead to protect the people, then you have nothing.
If the government is not going to lead?
To protect the people. If you have a government you can't trust to do right by the people, then you have nothing. You're still back to square one, because we have...
So just put in the next government and they're going to take care of it?
No. Hear me out clearly. All right? I'm saying you must put into power a government you can trust to do right by the people.
Well, I don't know about that, because all of them got fall. You know how much time NRP said they're going to turn on the switch for Jim Thomas from 2011?
No, you got it wrong. No. Not NRP. No.
You pull it up, they say in 2011 they were going to get this Jim Thomas ready.
No.
Go on the computer and pull it up.
No.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But let me tell you something. You know what Anguilla started this thing here? Over a license plate. A license plate mark sink is Nevis, not Anguilla. And that's what started the battle. Over a license plate. And let me tell you something. When Anguilla done, they had current and water and electricity, and they didn't have none before. So when you hear Parry them making a statement, oh, we got one hotel, we stupid who fighting for independence, That's a low blow. Angular, this what?
Anyway, caller, we seem to have we seem to have a difference of opinion about these matters, and we're going off track. We're going off track here.
They're part of us, separated. They cannot have the same rights.
Okay. Well, if you can't have the same rights, then I don't know what to tell you, because the Constitution provides that.
Well, then they can be regular citizens, not own half of the island, and have their own police and everything, and their own laws and their own court. That's citizen.
Okay then.
That's citizen. And it's demand that a referendum, because you get in a whole island by yourself.
Well, if you don't, my brother, if you don't trust politicians, they're the ones who have to do all this work. So if you don't trust them, how do we move forward?
Trust who? Trust Mark?
No. I said to you, my
politician. We can't. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying to you, right? Governments come, governments go, but the people on the island are continuous. All right? I'm saying to you is all governments, all politicians are not the same. People think things change, governments evolve. I'm saying to you, we're at a point in our history where we must be able to move forward in confidence with a government you can trust. You're saying you don't trust none of them, so how do we have a conversation?
Listen, it's 40 years the thing going, you know, man. Remember, nobody was talking about the face shade until the other day.
I'm just asking you a simple question. I'm asking you a simple question. Answer me the question. How do we move forward in a vacuum without leadership you can trust? You can't.
Well, you tell me 6 people, a premier and a cabinet, them who don't rely on 6 people.
Okay, brother. You have a good day, yeah?
And you gotta be kidding.
Have a good
6
day.
people.
I gotta go. Thank you, sir.
Guys, teach and this thing, if it's saying they citizens, then give them the damn island.
Okay.
You gonna let them make laws for them, you can't make laws for them, and you telling me they're citizens? You call a citizen as a teacher?
Okay. Thank you, brother. All the best. All right.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something before you go. Listen, learn this. There's something else bigger than that over there in the south. That I hear no politician, no attorney, no well-learned people mention it. And I'm not going to mention it. They have to tell me for my information.
All right.
You help the country by telling us.
All right. Thank you.
No. You are being ignorant because you are being stubborn in your ways telling me they're citizens and they have a right when we can't make laws for them, but they can make laws for us. That's logic.
Have a good day, sir. Thank you for calling in.
I know.
All right.
Yeah. You want to have all the opinion and all the information and then try to downplay people information. But go on. That's why we're in the mess today.
The Constitution and the law of the land is right, and the Constitution gives them the right.
It is hard.
We have to change the Constitution.
It is hard to have a conversation when nobody is willing to listen. Good afternoon, on target.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, with that exchange with that guy there I don't know if he's from the VI, but there is a lot of there's no contract signed. There's no contract and no deal signed. So right now we just speculating a lot of chatter. But the thing is, the moment Mark put that signature on that contract with Destiny, then the ball goes into Destiny's court and the pressure comes on both governments. You know, and the fact that he said future governments won't be able to repeal. If they do, that's when the problem gonna be. They're gonna suffer that government liability gonna be so expensive. Man, Destiny might be able to take over the whole of Nevis. But once Mark put that signature, once he run this through that Nevis assembly, and their signatures goes on that contract with Destiny, that's when all hell's gonna break loose. Right now, it's just a lot of chatter.
All right.
And I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. I think that's all the calls. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's hard to really have a conversation when persons are denying the power of the Constitution. If persons want to change the Constitution, they're willing to try. All right. No problem there. But as it is written now, as it is formatted now, once you're a citizen of the Federation of St. Nevis and you're a resident, you're entitled to have the rights of the citizen. You might not agree with it, but it is what it is.
There's no but. You can be a citizen, but. No.
It's the law.
Good afternoon, on target.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Almost gave up.
Sorry about that.
Good afternoon and seas greetings to the panelists, your show,
Same to you.
and all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you very much.
Now, if you sign a contract, because I hear me trying to argue to me, because I'm no lawyer, but I did some law. Those who acquire their citizenship by investment signed knowing that it said that they're not allowed to vote. That's a fact.
Yeah, they signed it, yeah.
Yeah. But when it started, that is it. Has the thing changed? Do they know? Are they aware that they would not be allowed to vote in local elections? But that is where we need to go, you know.
True.
And the next thing about this Brian clause. The Brian clause says if you were not sorry. Well-fed cock. If they cook for Christmas, I could go in there. There's something they love to cook and eat. No, it said you must be born here, or either of your parents or both must be born here.
Right.
They do not qualify. Well, that's the devil sent them. You don't get, they go ahead to make noise, you don't get cooked. That's how we cooking ourselves.
Yeah.
So I hear us arguing vehemently that the people are right. They really ain't gonna know nothing, you know. If it can be shown that they acquired the citizenship with the knowledge that they would not be allowed to vote
You see,
in local elections.
You see, caller,
I mean, you know, I can tell you that they
people,
cannot vote.
people sign contracts without understanding full
Are you aware
ramifications.
that the law says that?
Well, I'm telling you, the people always sign contracts that when in the end and under the scrutiny of law doesn't stand up. You know that to be a fact.
How do you reason the people in St. Thomas, St. Croix, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico can't vote for the president? Aren't they born Americans?
No, once you're born American, you can vote in American elections.
They cannot vote for the president.
Who? Those are territories of Puerto Rico. You mean those places?
They are Americans, you know.
The Americans, certain
They're
parts
born
of.
Americans, so they got different kinds of states of Americans.
Listen, I do not know what the Americans'
And
constitution.
all the territories, what they call it, they rule and control.
And all I can tell you, based on our constitution,
That's because we're the ones.
I do not know what the American Constitution says about
There was a thing
those
the other
rights.
day when the senator for the Virgin Islands made some remarks. They're all over what to put out in the Senate. They're Americans and they cannot vote. Puerto Rico is they're Americans and they cannot vote for the president. They didn't vote for Trump.
Caller, I cannot testify about what the
The
American.
next thing I just want to ask before I go.
Okay.
Did you listen to the budget, the presentation by Mark and the young lady
Yes.
on the fair share?
Yes. That's coming up next on this program, actually.
Well, I tell you, look, I think he could have given the Labour Party a heart attack. Not as there was him reading. And it was very interesting because he dealt with the whole thing from 2010, but he started in 2006. At one point, Dr. Douglas Classic said, you know, you're talking about 4 weeks was alone. And he went government by government. And I said, gosh, this is the first time I'd heard anybody explain it. And the young lady deserves credit. And also the former Minister of Agriculture.
Okay.
Because here it is, Davis first said they wanted to do the poultry industry. The Taiwanese gave them the eggs to hatch them, and they were reporting that they sent so much of them. The station, whatever. What about the question was, what about Nevis? Isn't Nevis a part of this federation? And the 20, by 25. You know, I said, I am glad, kind of late, but better so. I think Dr. Joe was in shock. But how I reasoned it, I reasoned that having tried to get it under unity, Dr. Douglas was president, he became close to Dr. Joe with the intention that they would get the money. But rather than that, having taken all the gold And there's nothing now. They give me a copper. I don't know how divisions, ordinary divisions relate to that.
Yeah, right. You
You
gotta.
can't say it is too late.
No, it's not too late. It's always time. All
So,
right.
here's greetings to my nephews, Joven and Lauren, Bowen, George, Richard,
Okay.
children, all the Fremont, all the Jeffers, all the Payne, the Nevis.
I'm a Jefferson.
Yeah, my mother was a Jeffers, married to a Fremont.
You
So
see?
nobody could put nothing in it. My father, mother was from that,
Uh-huh.
Alberta Payne.
Oh, okay, Alberta. She lived to be a
Yes,
ripe
I'm
old
like a
age.
Henry cousin.
Alberta Payne was related to
I've
you?
got a family in Nevis,
Uh-huh.
Oh, so
especially
you,
those in that.
so you can get your citizenship by
To
descent.
all of you and to all of my friends and whatnot. God bless you.
Thank you,
All the
darling.
best to you for 2025 and 26.
I like to hear the discussion, I love to hear vigorous debate
All right. Appreciate that.
by reason.
Yeah. But we'll see you next year. We'll see you next year, God willing.
But I'm waiting to hear your response
Okay, of course. Of course.
to Mark's presentation. I think it was good. It was not timely, but it was good.
Okay, we will play the tape in a minute.
All right, then.
All right, cool. Take care. No, I can't testify regarding the constitutionality of people right citizenship and all that. I don't know. I'm not a world scholar on those things. What I can tell you is what happens here, our constitution. All right? And the right to vote is a constitutional guarantee. All right? Persons have tried to make light of the fact that, oh, if you're a citizen, you sign a document saying you shouldn't, you're prevented from voting. But it has not been tested in the court. No. And the first attempt of the electoral office trying to stop somebody who is a CBI citizen from voting fell flat. Because they quickly acquiesced. I don't know who they called in the AG's office or who they, whatever matter came up that says, but quietly.
They should have let it go to the court.
No.
Why?
Let the AG take it to the court for let the AG go.
Yes, let it go.
All right? But we are against the clock here. We got to move on. All right? Okay, where are we now? The budget. Now, before we get to the budget, before we do that, I want to hear this tape here first. Listen to this very carefully.
A loan of $27 million was made to aid in the stabilization and long-term viability of the largest hotel in the country. At the time when I listened to the presentations, the hotel sector is
known to the largest hotel in this country of some 27 Please share the contents of what you read. What's the name of the document? What's the name of the hotel? You can't be making statements like those in this parliament. You have gone on. And if you are misleading, the public must not hear negative things which are misleading things.
document of the government. Madam, thank you. And the director of audit had it very crystal clear. Subhead, Madam Speaker, draw your attention to the top of the page notes. In 2023, says the forensic auditor, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis entered into a loan agreement with the Royal St. Kitts Beach Resort Limited for the issuance of a non-interest bearing loan in the amount of $27 million. Why? It goes on. To aid in the stabilization and long-term viability of the Marriott's operations. And it goes further. In 2023, $18 million was disbursed, and a further $8 million was disbursed in 2024. So that is the document from which this has been taken. And I raised that in the Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I raise this again. Look at it. The issuance of a non-interest bearing loan. An important one. It's not just a loan, it is a special loan. Not 1% interest, not 2% interest, not 3% interest, not 4% interest, not 10% interest. An interest-free loan to aid in the stabilization, which means things like security, and long-term viability of its operation. And it begs the question, if we have the largest and on the face of it the most successful, we have known this, but on the face of it, brand name, internationally known, is having issues with the stabilization and long-term viability. What is happening to our tourism? Questioner.
That came out of the presentation by the former Prime Minister Harris, indicating that the Drew administration would have loaned Marriott $27 million beginning in 2023 and then continuing in 2024. All right, easy. Now here's the problem. It was disclosed in the audit report, and apparently Dr. Douglas had not read it, even though he would have had a copy of it. So he was unaware. So he got up on a point of order, or should be a point of information, to challenge what Dr. Harris had said, only to be cowed and had to sit down quietly when Dr. Harris proved where he got the information from. Very embarrassing. It tells me something further, that the decision to grant $27 million interest-free loan to Marriott, that Dr. Douglas was not part of the conversation, because he would have recalled it. You do not recall $27 million. There was no parliamentary resolution. I do not know whether there was a cabinet submission. I'm assuming there was, or had to be a cabinet submission for the cabinet to rule on this matter. The question is, how is it that Dr. Douglas had no knowledge of it? Where is this leading to? Is this evidence of a split in the cabinet, as people are supposing, where some people are knowing what's going on and others are not knowing? There was no parliamentary resolution to agree, because this is extra budgetary support. Where did the money come from? Because it was not part of the budget for either of those years. There were no provisions setting that $27 million be loaned to Marriott in those estimates. So who authorized it? It had to be Dr. Drew. He's the Minister of Finance. How is it that these guys did not know? And based on the silence in the Parliament, you didn't hear anybody else saying anything to object to what Dr. Harris claimed. Interesting. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, Target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
I would like to say season greetings to Bonnie Byron, and to remind her of what the Word of God says when Paul wrote to Timothy. Paul says to Timothy, Timothy, I want you to declare the Word of God in layman term, in season and out of season. Not only that, it says to Timothy, Timothy in good faith and of sound mind. So I want the Reverend Bonnie Byron to continue to keep the faith and understand that she has been called to the kingdom for such a time as this. Now let me move on to something else. To those people that have a job today, I say to you, the Nigerians are coming and coming fast. So I want you to understand that if you wake up January morning and has a job, you must hold it with both hands. I say to your parents that have your children at home, have you finished with school? If they did not come out with any subject or come out with subject, tell them to go and learn a trade and become industrious, because something tells me that things will not be getting any better.
Lost a call. But to continue the conversation, now this reminds me, gentlemen, of when we discovered that in the estimates, in the audit report for the NIA 2023, we found also that the government had appropriated $25.5 million for Restream. No resolution of Parliament, no discussion, same activity, secret. Now, persons are arguing whether the actions by Dr. Drew was secret. It is indeed secret because nobody knew. Nobody knew, so it is indeed secret. Such a large appropriation for a private company with no interest is indeed secret. This is taxpayers' money, and therefore you need to be discussed and ventilated. Even a resolution of Parliament should have been passed to make sure persons are understanding the whole gravity of the situation. We can't be out there borrowing money for the hospital, borrowing money for geothermal, borrowing money from all kind of people, even at concessionary rates, even between 3 and 4%. But yet we are turning around and lending our money for 0%, with no guarantees of ever being repaid. What securities, what assets are we holding to guarantee the repayment of this debt? You know, it goes against the grain that we are doing these things when so much poor people are saying, you know, we need help too. We need help too. We are warehousing people in small communities, small plots of land, because the government saying they ain't got enough money to do this and do that. But yet we are finding $27 million, zero tax, 0% to give to billionaires, because persons are suspecting that behind the scenes of ownership at Marriott are people like Johnson and Vare. I can't say it's true or not, but people are speculating that there's a tie-in between those two developers and Marriott's. Is that true? I don't know. These are the kind of things that need to be ventilated and properly brought to this the bright light of scrutiny for us to understand that $27 million of our money is a lot of money. We just denied Nevis, right? How much money? $29 million. They got 35 instead of 66. $31 million we lost going from January 1st going forward. 31 million. Brantley had to bend over backwards to get $20 million from National Bank guaranteed by the federal government at concessionary rate. I think it was 3.5 to 4%. Had to bend over backwards to get it. We don't even know what was this had to disclose or what was given as security. But yet you have the federal government looking at foreign investors as superior to us. We are not worthy of getting that interest-free loan. I would have loved to get 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 interest-free loan to start a business. So where is my help? Where is my help? Let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Daly.
Good afternoon.
Could we call during the same administration, it was said that Timothy Harris forgive the same business establishment $10 million?
The question on the board, is...
No, I'm speaking of it. Hello?
The question on the board is, listen, I'm not going to go back to what Timothy Harris did.
But this $20-something million was on the capex. That's a point of terms of just for you. Because it was to the public domain that Timothy Harris forgave this $10 million.
Okay.
But the $20-something million we know is not enough.
We don't know anything.
That's the point of terms of just for you.
Oh, okay.
You understand what I'm speaking of, right?
Yes. Right. Now, the difficulty I have is a double standard. You are a $1 billion company. You're a $1 billion company with billionaires as owners. And you can't approach a bank to borrow $27 million, even at concessionary rates. You have to go to the federal government for that. And why would the government give you? Why would they bend to you and give you $27 million? Are they threatening to pull out of St. Kitts and Nevis and lose their entire investment over $27 million? Why are we the bankers of foreign investors? Why are we the ones to be carrying the load when we ourselves need the help? When our people want help? Why is it that we are the ones who have to bear the brunt of this nonsense? No, this is not right.
If you are the music to write, everybody is to write. And that's what happened. We are the music to write.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Hello?
Yeah, you're coming in, you got a little disturbance.
Yes, now, it's not the first time, I don't know if you recall. One time, Dr. Douglas said that he gave the loan so the people can stay employed. Marriott does not own the building,
They're the operators,
then
yes.
we got on the road. He then owned the structure. Marriott collect the room tax, the other kind of tax, and pass them on to the Zen. But the Zen had more than collected by now what he invested. He was passing in. But you see, Ben we like to beg and borrow, like that. I mean, up to now, nobody could say, well, of all the millions collect, we get something. So what are we doing? And the benefit, every little delegation story, now it gets the work.
Yes, right. Every last one.
They get a lot of work out of the government.
A lot.
That could more than pay the 27 that they try to borrow. But our people have our country indebted to foreign money. And when you talk, they say, oh, you don't like so you don't like so. It's common sense. They should be able to give us some of the taxes. And when they start to fire people, the police went over there and put the people off the compound. We go fighting for their rights, So So I am not surprised. When election time comes, I always say, who paid the piper called the tune?
Exactly that.
And some of them are so merciless. Because then they could call them up. And when they pulling out, they're pulling out. Some of them can't afford to pull out. Now it is doing well. We need to see the financial accounts. Because they get all of these concessions. They got our Gulf Coast. And they say not making money. They're running down. The Free Development Corporation had to be paying workers, to maintain the Gulf Coast. And sometimes when you hear some ministers go, you get mixed. Where Astafan was the minister of tourism. And like Mark said, he was out in the yard. He was in the yard. You can't tell me that you're a minister of tourism and you allow Dr. Douglas to go and hand over the Gulf Coast to somebody. But it is our money, was maintaining it. Everything they want, they get because it belongs to beggars. We have to learn to conduct our elections and our own terms and people. It's the begging and the people understand that. So even though now we have a deficit, one last year, and one over 300 million, Dr. Joe trying to maintain his position. He passed out double. If somebody says that you guys, I get in my double, but the truth is the country is not in a position to get a double. You don't think so?
That's right. You're right. Absolutely
They're
right.
not in any position because every double that they give is add to the debt, and next thing you know, we are going to get to the IMF.
That's right.
We're on the way, We're on the way.
Thank you very
So,
much.
I am not sorry for the government.
All right.
Our people are, you see, when you run for election, try and educate yourself and advance. There are programs you can listen to that teaches you how to manage, how to negotiate. You can't negotiate. Every little threat they make. Oh, well, if you don't give us, we go. Tell them go. They got more to lose, than me. If they go, you take over the building.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
That's all there is to it.
That's all it is.
That's all.
I agree.
Now it is a name.
Agreed.
Now it is not a little barrel.
That's right.
But it's sickening. You see, when you go to the National Bank, they want 10%, And you go borrow for a car, they want the car value in 8 years. It has no cost over 200,000. How would they expect you to eat?
I don't know.
And the government has the major share in the bank. And you go down to Development Bank, and you go to Social Security. They're cleaning them out, run them out to foreigners. And then some of us are stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry to say.
No problem. Thank you.
We don't analyze anything. I never expected them to spend a double.
Still in.
I'm an economist.
Carla, let me ask you something. Why you think that Drew decided to pay the double? He knows the economic landscape is not good. Why do you think he decided to pay it?
I'm going to hang up for a second.
Hello?
I'm going to hang up for a second. I listen.
No, I was asking you a question. You didn't hear the question.
Yes, very good.
No, I was asking you, given the financial landscape, and you mentioned the deficits every year increasing over $300 million now, the debt.
Burning first, you remember on the Dr. Douglas, and I was talking before him because I used to work on the financial account. And when SSMC was formed, I protested. It used to hurt my heart when I have to work on the account. And see, you're losing $30 million every year. They were warned before they went in 95. That the thing was not sustainable. They didn't start to work on something the fuel and making other products and when it came. They went in it, oh well, we can just increase the acreage. You can't. Look, since 1965, the sugar industry was not viable. When Mr. Bassett took it over, he took over the debt. So we were all strung out with debt. And of course he said, nobody's supposed to get, oh, they take the land to give them. And so, and them up there popping champagne. I was so vexed, you know. If you could tell them, I was upset. How could you be popping champagne and congratulating yourself that you are producing more cane when the price of the sugar was cut in two? We were producing at 50 cents per pound, and they were paying us 25. Does that make sense? People lack business sense. I am talking to all the political parties and all the candidates. Please learn something, some economics, some accounts, some business, something. Because these people are going to outsmart you and make you feel desperate. Because the truth is, as far as I suspect, the deal is set. As much as we're talking and protesting, destiny is going to start maybe January. Because all the both governments broke. You can't just write up 300 or something deficit. Where coming from? Where's it coming from? And what assurance did I give to the government, to America? Because he said, you see what happened to Antigua and Dominica? You were able to. What did they give away?
Good question. Thank you, caller.
I want to know, you know.
I want to know too. When you find it, let me know. See you next year.
No man, you never go.
Thank you.
But not serious, in your party, you all begin to educate the people.
Of course.
Take advantage of you when you don't know.
Okay.
Some of them don't even know basic economics.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. All the best.
And the very Lord have mercy on us, eh?
All right. Thank you.
Kel, I just want to make a point to follow on from what the caller said. I saw a note, the Prime Minister of Grenada, Deacon Mitchell, says that he now says he wish he had a better understanding of public policy and financial management before he came to government. So he is saying exactly what Sylvine is just saying, that we need to understand public policy. Well, here in Nevis, the one here in Nevis could say so too, but you know, he's too big a person to admit that. But Deacon Mitchell is saying, no, the other point I want to make.
I got a call. Hold a point there. Good afternoon, your target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
I actually have to agree with Sylvie, but I'm going to go one step further. If you want people who understand money and how to spend money and how to make money work, we should maybe amend the Constitution to say if you're a doctor or you're a lawyer, you can't stand for elected office. And let's get some people, some bar shop owners, some front hands, people who actually understand how to save and how to spend, and how to make a profit. Those are the people who should be running the country, not some lawyer who's never had to balance an account, has never had to pay wages, you know, not a doctor. They understand what they understand. But when it comes to money, let's get people in power who are accustomed to dealing with money.
Right.
And the ones that I see on this island who are successful at dealing with money are the people who have a shop for 20 years plus. People who, you go in the market and you see there are 2 or 3 people in the market who've been there for 20 years. They understand how to count pennies. Okay, and we need people running the country who understand how to count pennies, how to spend wisely, and how to charge wisely.
All right.
You are Sylvine why the double salary. Well, you ever thought that maybe the double salary is used as a PR exercise? Normally it comes before elections.
It has to be. It's the only
Well,
reason.
maybe I don't think they're going to call it, Dr. Drew's going to call it election right now because there's a little bit too much noise on the street. So I wonder if it's not to persuade the
It's an appeasement. It's an appeasement.
Persuade the civil servants to support your stand on destiny and the SSE.
I suspect.
It's a bit of stroking going on there.
Yeah. All right.
Well, hopefully for him, hopefully the stroking work.
Right.
But seriously, let's get some people who understand it. Yeah, if you can't count pennies, how you count millions?
Your point is well taken. Your point is well taken.
Okay, man.
Thank you.
Oh, and all the best for the season, and I don't think I'm going to hear you again for this year, right?
No, this is the last time.
We'll have a drink,
Well, a
Alistair.
happy new year to all three of you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Same to you.
No, Kel, I just wanted to hit the point, one of the points from on the Marriott matter. Marriott is part of a conglomerate. So if one unit is not doing so, clearly they must be able to access that outside of that. But I would have thought.
But this is free money. I mean, if somebody offered me $10 million right now, it's 0%. I'll take it. 0%, I'll take it. Believe me, I'll take it. Any business in Nevis
And then
offer that sort of cushion,
then
believe me, there'll be no end of takers.
but I also lucky is within the context of the colonial understanding. How is it these foreign companies continue to operate like this and think like this in these black countries?
No.
Would they do the same?
You
thing
have
in
it
the
wrong.
States?
You
No.
have it wrong.
Why?
The problem is not the investors.
The poor
The problem is our leadership.
Okay.
That's
Why?
true.
They have a mentality that is less than. Anyhow, we gotta move on quickly. We gotta move on. Where am I now? Oh yeah, I wanted to read some comments. I needed to read and involve our audience because I don't like the idea of just us running our mouths and don't look at the comments on the board. Jam Forbes wrote, it's time for Nevis people to stop being afraid and come out of the shadows. Inodor, Mr. Daly, those investors ain't give a damn, get a damn cent. There are some crooks and they find crooked leaders just like them to deal with. Who was here? Delicious Nichols Brown, if Timo did not raise the $27 million question, the Federation will never known. Yeah, that's very true. Judy Kunis Webb, God bless me and God bless me with children, and all them have sense. Nobody can fool them. Who else we have here? Tonya Powell. Okay, no, Tonya is so rude. I think. Oh, the question, Burl probably wasn't listening in the beginning. He's asking if whether the judicial review was filed. No, it had not been filed as yet, but it will be filed. The last segment of the show is this part here, and this should take us up to 4 o'clock, the latest, because I have to go to the barbers to get my beauty haircut.
Oh, you're preparing for the Christmas? You got a big program?
And you didn't notice I have new glasses?
No.
You didn't notice I got new glasses too?
You don't have to answer me this clear, true.
I'm surprised Gigi didn't notice I have new glasses.
No, the women who are looking at you carefully would recognize.
That sister is such a marvelous sister.
I did not say who I got them from.
No, you say they passed from overseas.
Listen to this.
Applied a pro rata basis
Oh, Jesus. Is that what we got?
since back in 2010. I've been going back for this. People of Nevis would have benefited from 1.43 billion. Instead, we got 609. It means that what the word that is popular in reparations? Reparations. It's $821.23 million that we were denied in Nevis over those things. My debt in Nevis right now is just about $500 million. You realize that Nevis would have no debt? Well, it was there. Poof. You realize that our hospital would have been finished? Airport finished? All of those things done? Instead of that, the people of Nevis up there living on fumes, borrowing money. With $821.23 million is what we could have got had there been an equity sheet. Prime Minister used the word yesterday. You don't want equity. You don't want equal.
No, that was Mark Brantley on Wednesday giving his address on the budget on St. Kitts. Basically saying that from 2010 to 2025, Nevis was robbed of $800 million, and had he had access to the $800 million, the airport would have been finished, the debt will disappear, the hospital would have been done. So it's all everybody's fault. It's not his. $800 million was owed, he says. And he actually put out a barrage of posts saying to Dr. Drew, basically, we are owed $800 million as a consequence of a combination of Labour government that he was the leader of the opposition for from 2007 to 2014. He was a part of the Team Unity construct from 2015 to 2022. He was the Premier of Nevis from 2017 to present. He was Deputy Premier from 2013 to 2017. My brothers and sisters, when you see a man who cannot take responsibility for anything and keeps blaming others for his failures, look out. Because he had every opportunity, especially when he was leader of the opposition, and especially when he was a minister in the cabinet of Team Unity. Oftentimes the Prime Minister, then Harris, referred to him as a deputy leader. Oftentimes, even though he was foreign minister. At that period of time in his life, especially at 2017, when he became Premier of Nevis, and still maintained his position in the cabinet of St. Kitts, and the foreign minister, and here you know, belly aching about $800 million you were robbed of. My brother, where were you? Where were you in this entire process? Where is the cabinet submission that could have asked Timothy Harris to go to the parliament to codify this arrangement? To change the constitution. To change the constitution. Ratifying Nevis's fair share as non-taxable revenue from taxable revenue from CBI. Because it's not in the constitution, you know. The constitution talks about tax revenue sharing, not taxable, non-tax revenue, which is CBI. So there need to be an amendment to the constitution to include CBI and other non-taxable revenue as part of this revenue sharing mechanism. Where was he in all this debate? No submission to cabinet, no submission to parliament, no legislation tabled to deal with the matter. And we have come to this now. We have come to this. The fair share argument has backfired on him because instead of getting more money, he has gotten less, and 47% less. He was mama guide. And so now he's trying to reclaim some high ground that he was robbed. Robbed? Well, who robbed you? You came to the people of Nevis and said, send me and these two other nincompoops to St. Kitts to make sure that they represent themselves at Church Street. And what we got? What do we get from this? Nothing but complaints that you were robbed. Well, the man put a gun to your head. You had the legislative pen in your hand. You had the ear of the former Prime Minister. You were in the cabinet. What did you do to ensure that Nevis was properly represented and properly compensated? What did you do, Premier Brantley? You need to tell the people what did you do and not complain and point fingers and say we were robbed. Well, who robbed us? You were there. You were part and parcel of the robbery of Nevis. You were an accomplice to the robbery of Nevis because you lifted not a finger. You were an accomplice to the robbery. And you must take responsibility for being an accomplice to this. You were there. You might not have been pointing the gun, but you loaded the gun. You put the bullets in the gun. And when the gun went off, you said, it ain't me. I had nothing to do with it. No, you were there. You had every opportunity to address this matter when you had the opportunity, but you're so busy begging instead of legislating. Timothy Harris give him 35 million, then 50 million. than 66 million. Rather than legislating, you are begging.
Rather than working.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Yes. I want to see if Premier Branch is going to get him everything. Because obviously, yes, it's quite obvious. He's blaming the Saint government, the successive Saint government, for not getting the issue, right? But the people of Nevis should be raking him and his other colleagues over the coals. They are the ones who make Nevis get shortchanged. You can't put on this on somebody else. I really want to see if he could get away with it. Okay, then.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Daly,
Go ahead.
Mark Brantley
No.
is on the
Hold on,
call.
hold on, hold on. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon. And the same thing I tell you a while ago. And them start them come in and come down, when you could have free money. You man told you $10. You want to take two? Ask for money. You start to go wisely. All right.
All right, thank you.
Mark Brantley is on record of lambasting Dr. Douglas for, according to him, only giving Navy 17 point something million dollars for the time that Douglas was the Prime Minister. I normally roll it after 18. And he said that he had the record. The same Mark Brantley is on record praising Timothy Harris for the monies that Timothy Harris gave to Nevis under himself and Van Samuel. Not time inside there, Mark Brantley said that we are shortchanged. He was happy, he felt justified, he did the best it has ever been. He praised Timothy Harris as a great minister of finance. And so now to hear him, I listened to him at the end of the first term. I listened to him just before he destroyed the government, praising the same Timothy Harris for the contribution, the best ever, the most Nevis has ever gotten. We are the best in class. Timothy Harris was a genius as a leader. All this think about the Mark Brantley vote. Not one word that Nevis was shortchanged. Okay? And so now coming to jump up and they have Julian little puppy pulling yo-yo pulling behind him. This thing lies squarely at the feet of Mark Brantley. Mark Brantley said he wrote the Charleston Accord that talk about fair share. After Mark Brantley got into government, he uttered not a word to Timothy Harris about fair share and whatever promise was in the accord. I said last Thursday, I said again, Vance Amri was the first person who sat down with Harris and says, after the Charleston Accord, give me $30 million. And Harris gladly gave him $30 million.
They're all odd.
All of them. Mark Brantley twice sat down with Harris and negotiated with Harris for money. Why he didn't tell Harris, listen, the Fair Share Accord says that you must give, you're going to give Nevis 10 cents, and I want my 10 cents. I will not accept 9.5 cents or 5 cents. He is to be blamed. He can't blame Harris, and he can't blame Douglas. He's a weak leader.
Let's go to the call. Good afternoon, you're on top.
Yeah, man, this is, yeah, good afternoon again. This is where Nevis people got to pay attention. Once upon a time, when I got reconnected to this political stuff, I heard there was student, Patrice Nisbet was in Bass here and asking for nothing from Nevis. This right here is probably Mark Brantley's turn. You know, I'm not going back and saying anything that you were saying about Patrice was true, but what I'm saying is this right here is where this system got to be removed. We need new managers of our money. Man, this man was getting $66 million from Timothy Harris. Where did all that money go? Now that he's gonna get 35, now that he got 35 million, you think he's gonna do better with 35 million and all the project in Nevis is stalled out? Man, he can't blame nobody else but himself and the other two representatives from Nevis. And Nevis people should not stand for this shit anymore. Man, we need to get Nevis going. Man, the man is borrowing so much money from the federal government now. It's a shame. He's gonna put the federation in a bind. The debt gonna climb more in Nevis. It's sure gonna climb in Sinkers if you keep giving him money because the money that's coming over, aren't they coming over as loans? The money to remove those people from the top of the airport, that 20 million you gave him, isn't that a loan?
Yes.
And he's just said once upon a time, they also said that Nevis got money from Sinkers as a loan. Man, this stuff is really repetitive and it's disgraceful.
Right.
The people got to pay attention to this. This is we're talking about our finances now. Well, who's there? They're not managing the money right. They got 66 million. They didn't do good with it. They can't do nothing with 35 mil.
All right.
And that 800 and something million that he's claiming for, man, I put that to him once upon a time. I asked him, yeah, if you feel I think it's of money to you and you're such a brilliant scholar, man, why don't you sue the federal government for that money?
There you go.
All right,
There
thanks
you
a
go.
lot, man. You guys have a good afternoon, man. Thanks.
Right.
Let me make one.
And that goes to the heart of it.
Section 110.
You have redress. You have redress.
110. If you believe so, tell you have redress if you think you have a cause.
Man, go to the court.
One comment is
Wait, hold on. Good afternoon, Target.
Clearly, good afternoon once more.
Good afternoon.
We need to get this clear up before you left. Got me here for something Thursday night. We exclude from getting the double salary.
I didn't hear that.
Premier Brantley exclude certain people. Yeah. Who he say excluded?
I think Dr. Drew misspoke. What he should have said was parliamentarians. And he said
Exactly.
He said ministers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when me here Thursday night, the three still are gonna get them double salary. so even if Mavis get short change, it cannot get short change, you know. I get that.
Thank you, caller.
I get that.
I will get it.
He said government ministers and them advisors.
Yes.
The three no fit none of that Okay then.
Right.
Good.
That never dawned upon. Well, I think he meant them.
I think he meant parliamentarians.
But let me make this last comment on this fair share thing. And I'm going to say, if we were not getting a reduction,
hold again. Now that we're going home, everybody. Good afternoon. You on target?
Good afternoon again. Quick question. Caller just mentioned that the NIA has borrowed money to purchase lands around the airport, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming there's an interest rate attached to that, right?
4%.
How much?
4%.
4%?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay. So hold on a minute.
Excuse me?
These are I'm just thinking, this is your part of your country. This is the Nevis Island Administration, part of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And you're charging them 4% for money, right? To put in a infrastructure project. But you're not charging Marriott none.
Nope.
wow.
The quote former Prime Minister's, yes.
Thank you, caller. Have a good blessed day. Going too long.
I was just simply saying, if we were still getting $66 million from Sinkers, we would have heard not a word out of Mark Brantley. He discovered that his foolish argument that he was making, that we call foolish argument, having said nothing when he was in a government for 7 years and said nothing about fair share for neighbors, did absolutely nothing about it. And when Joe sprung it upon him, he said, why? I lose $31 million here. And so now he's arguing now that they owe him. But if he was getting that 66 million, he would have
have said absolutely
Let
nothing.
me just ask the question too. And let me ask you, if you had gotten the 801 million, would any difference have been made in
He said he'll pay off the debt.
why he
He'll
did
pay off
with
the debt.
What he did with the portion?
Pay for the airport, pay off the hospital.
Yes.
He will be in good stead.
And he will manage the hospital.
But you understand now why he's holding so tight to destiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
You understand why now? Because he is looking for a free meal. He's not willing to work.
But I have made the point all along. A man 56 years never days working 60. And so he has been lazy. He has been incompetent. And so he goes to St. Kitts on the whole thing of me, this whole St. Kitts got free money kind of thing. But you make the point, David. You can only argue if you have never been in the ring. But you were in the ring where the money was shared. Huh?
So what you want before?
But you were there.
But even after even during all of this argument back and forth in the parliament this week, and all of the arguments prior to that about faith shield, have you heard the man, as leader of the opposition,
Submission.
make any attempt to fix this through legislative means? None. He's a legislator who refuses to legislate.
But that's my argument. Until you see a draft legislation seeking to address the matter, put that in the out of order bond.
Let me tell you something, right? Finally, Mark has, today is the 20th, he has 11 days. 11 days to sign.
To sign Nevis' destiny. To sign destiny.
Last call. You're on the last call.
More serious than
Well, dearly, me glad that made the last call. God bless you. Listen here. Well, because I made the last call, let me just say Merry Christmas to everybody. And let us say SOS to what host of Monday night program. Mr. Manners. Mr. Manners, if you listen, please, I beg you, please, to come and get one program Monday night and bring Jay and Rowan together. And that's going to be on Christmas. Daily.
Yes, sir.
Listen here. Pertaining to what you there discuss with Premier Brantley and Dr. Joe and this issue. Now, me recognize that Premier Brantley no really understand his role there. Because name no come with Nevis and Sankis, and Nevis and Sankis, so it no matter who the other name them be. No, when he said that Dr. Harris promising and you not promising nothing, that's a foolishness. You get the point, man?
Yeah.
And the shade that for Nevis are just the shade for Nevis, no matter who promise you, who not promise you. You get that?
Of course.
And the fall, they're Brantley fall. And if I just listen to me and he, my Wednesday night, they tell you over and over and over, Dr. Harris not the problem, he's made the problem.
Exactly right.
You get me? Because the whole pile about it. You never go to the cabinet to discuss this.
That's right.
And if you listen to the Attorney General, Mark Wilson, you know what he said? He said in order for the CBI money there, Premier Brantley and Dr. Joe have to go before the before the Governor General and the three of them to sit down and discuss what happened and come to conclusion, and that never happened. You get the point?
Of course.
Okay then, we'll let on there.
Thank you very much.
All
right, folks.
Well, I will just say, I'm just like...
Make it short.
Yeah, but only two sentences. One, as long as there's no legislation, and there's been no legislation to address the issue of the money for Nevis, and there has been no court case to challenge the federal government's position, the matter is out no more. That's my view.
Tulu, any closing words? That's it? Okay. Empty barrels, they say, make the most noise. And rather than sitting and complaining, the sky is falling. And you have your own $800 million or whatever the quantum is. You are still a politician. You're still a parliamentarian. You're still the premier. You still have sight of the Constitution. You still have sight of the court. Do something. But trying to blame others for your bad management, and I'm not convinced whether if he had the money, he would make a difference. I really don't think so. He has had over $1.5 billion since 2015 to spend in the economy of Nevis. $500 million alone from the federal government to CBI, and the rest of the current revenue. And he has not made an impact. Everything is half done, overpriced, over budget, over time, made no impact. And so I can't see how throwing good money after bad would make any difference in the how the government is run. All right, so we are going to close up shop right now on that.
Merry Christmas.
And wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year.
Maybe somebody's going to wish Merry Christmas.
I hope it's that, because
maybe somebody's got it.
Unless you're wishing us Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas, we done for the day. Good afternoon, caller.
Let me put the ribbon around the package. In all fairness to the Premier, he was under the tree as usual.
He was under the tree. Okay. Thank you. All right. All right. So on behalf of the crew here on 2020 Vision, and particularly on Target, I'm signing off. Kelvin Daly with Tulu Weeks and Henry Daniel. We will be back next year, January, God spare life. We're wishing you a safe and prosperous Christmas and New Year. Blessings to all of you and your families. See you next year, God willing. All right, we out of here.
Big crowd in Charlestown, man. Look them face a frown. All man and woman ballin'. Repeal, no behave. Says they don't stir up hornet nest. Trouble up on the street. Brantley, take note. The people can't take defeat. Brantley say he wise, but we see he foot slip. He signed pen quick, but now the shoe can't fit. He promised progress, but all we get is stress. The cabinet ducking, running from the mess. I listen good, the grumble start to grow. Belly full of vex and the crowd ready to blow. Government think we fool, but we don't wake up. Repeal a face the music, man, we ain't go shut up. Dr. Drew, hear me repeal the SSE law. On next election, you go taste real job. People vex bad, we not go hush we mouth. Bring back the justice or get run out. Dr. Drew, hear me repeal the SSE law. On next election, you go taste real job. People vex bad, we not go hush we mouth. Bring back the justice or get run out. Big mouth dep on Nevis, nah do no work. He said big man ambassador, fully fall for me trap. Nevis vex too, the island one they say. SSZ reach far, confusion in every way. I listen good, the grumble start to grow. Belly full of vex and the crowd ready to blow. Government think we fool, but we don't wake up. Repeal a face the music, man, we ain't go shut up. Dr. Drew, hear me repeal the SSE law. On next election, you go taste real job. People vex bad, we not go hush we mouth. Bring back the justice or get run out. Wasn't me, is the PM and AG. Principal gone missing now, we can't cope. He flash big smile, but the people now buy. Truth get get lost while they spin web of line. Old heroes like Bradshaw and Southwell they grieve. Legacy shaking their spirit and believe. Them fight for freedom, no look how we stray. SSZ bring shame, oh Lord, what a day. Living elder shaking head, feeling the age. Say the youth must rally, repeal for we sake. History watching consequences tall. If Brantlin a listen, he sure go fall. So gather all man, woman, young and old. Unity in voice, in sun and in cold. Bassage a protest, the echo still ring. Repeal the SSZ, let justice win. Dr. Drew, hear me, repeal the SSZ law. On next election, you go taste real job. People vex bad, we not go hush we mouth. Bring back the justice or get run out. Dr. Drew, hear me, repeal the SSZ law. On next election, you go taste real job. People vex bad, we not go hush we mouth. Bring back the justice or get run out.